CDR and work.
The primary ascent computer software is now in the primary launch program, and Commander Rick Sturko will align the backup flight system to the terminal countdown configuration. We're at T-minus 17 minutes, 54 seconds and counting. Check verifies that the seal is tight now that the hatch is closed. And once it's sealed, the commander, Rick Sturko, oversees the pressurization of the cabin to flight pressure.
MQC, you can show 773 complete. Copy, thank you, sir.
Seconds, Eastern Daylight Time.
And safety console entity.
Safety, go ahead.
Yes, at this time I'll give you 935. Non-essential personnel are clear.
Okay, 935.
T-minus 14 minutes, 15 seconds and counting.
And of course the Colbert safely into orbit. Have a great flight. Yes.
Those words from Orbiter Test Conductor John Craxton. The orbiter access arm is the walkway used by the crew to gain entry into and out of the shuttle, and it can be returned to position within seconds if necessary. T-minus 6 minutes, 56 seconds and counting.
APU start complete, 3 hours. Copy.
3 good auxiliary power.
Errors. Copy and Discovery OTC, close and lock your visors, initiate O2 flow.
T-minus 2 minutes.
Discovery, roger.
CLS is go for EP LH2 pressurization.
Liquid hydrogen replenish on the external tank is now being terminated for return to launch site landing should that become 15 seconds. The sound suppression water system has been activated.
10. CLS is go for main engine start.
We have a go for main engine start. And we have main engine start. 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff of Discovery, celebrating its 25th birthday by racking up science and supplies to the space station.
Houston now controlling the midnight ride of Rick Sturko and his crew to the International Space Station. Discovery rolling on to the proper alignment for its 8.5-minute ride to orbit. 4.5 million pounds of hardware and humans taking aim on the International Outpost. "32 seconds into the flight. The 3 liquid fuel main engines soon will throttle back to 72% of rated performance down in the bucket, reducing the stress on the shuttle as it goes transonic. Discovery 3.5 miles in altitude, 4 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. Standing by for the throttle up call now from Capcom Eric Bowe.
Discovery.
Copy, go ahead, throttle up.
The throttle up call acknowledged by Commander Rick Sturco, joined on the flight deck by pilot Kevin Ford, flight engineer Jose Hernandez, and Pat Forrester. Seated down on the middeck are Danny Olivas, Christopher Fugelsang of the European Space Agency, and Nicole Stott, hitching a ride for 3 months on the International Space Station. 1 minute 30 seconds into the flight. All of Discovery's systems performing normally. 17 miles in altitude, 18 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. One minute 50 seconds into the flight. Standing by for solid rocket booster separation. Booster officer confirms staging a good solid rocket booster separation. Guidance now converging. The onboard computers steering the shuttle for its precise path to the International Space Station. Discovery 37 miles in altitude, 54 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. 3 good main engines. 3 good auxiliary power units, 3 good fuel cells.
Discovery, 2 engine Maroon.
Copy, 2 engine Maroon.
Discovery flying on the singular power of its 3 liquid fuel main engines, draining a half a ton of fuel per second from the shuttle's large fuel tank. Discovery coming up on the point of negative return, where the shuttle will be too far downrange, too high in altitude to return to the launch site in the event of an engine failure.
Discovery, negative return.
Copy, Houston, negative return.
Discovery speeding straight as an arrow on its night flight toward a date with the International Space Station Sunday night. 4 minutes, 8 seconds into the flight. Discovery 61 miles in altitude, 163 miles downrange from the Cape. All systems in great shape. Discovery now 336 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center, coming up on the 6-minute mark into the flight.
Is actually kind of a forward tumble. You actually feel like you're kind of tumbling forward a little bit, and then suddenly everything starts floating, and you feel the fluid shift almost immediately, and you feel a little bit full-headed, like you're standing on your head. And but it's time to go to work. You know, there's not a moment to lose. And on my first mission, in fact, I was part of the team that was taking the photos and the video of the external tank as it separated away from us.
Got a comment from Beaufort, or is it Beaufort, South Carolina? They had a beautiful view of launch from there, watching outside.
Gravity. Discovery currently traveling at a speed of more than 4 miles per second. Discovery and its crew 700 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. 40 seconds of powered flight remaining. Standing by now for main engine cutoff. That will be followed a few seconds later by the separation of the external fuel tank. Booster officer confirms a good main engine cutoff. Now standing by for external tank separation. External tank separation confirmed. Discovery now in its preliminary orbit. You can see the flash photography as Discovery fades away from the camera view. Good maneuver being commanded by Rick Sturckow, maneuvering Discovery so that